So moving on to the name, I've got a lot of stuff going on here. So before I do anything, I want to just delete my history again. Make sure that like all of this stuff I can delete because it's unnecessary. Plane 1, plane 2, F, solo, make sure there's nothing actually there. Delete it, don't need it. So that is my mesh. And then that can just middle mouse drag into the radio. And then also in my layer editor, I'm going to come back to my radio body, right click, add selected objects. So now there's my radio all in one. And it's looking okay. I'm pretty pleased with it. Next is the name. So Roberts. I just did a quick Google search for the Roberts logo, and there it is. So let me just save that image. So say open tab in a new window. Save image as, and then I want to put it in my work folder in reference. So into my radio, source images, Roberts logo, save. Just realized I'm doing this on the wrong screen, but I need to open up Photoshop anyway. So I'll bring that in there. So here's a logo inside Photoshop, and we can use this. It's a decent quality image of it. And I'm going to use this to essentially extract the information that I need. So first of all, what I'm going to do is just select by color range and select the white and just hit OK. And it's relatively, no, I'm not going to do that just yet. Because I can delete that, but I think it's not quite clean enough. It might be, but we'll see. And then I'm going to open Illustrator, Adobe Illustrator as well. So let's just open that up. Because what I want to do is turn it into a vector. And Illustrator's got a nice, easy way to do that. So I'm just going to open that up. So there, Illustrator's just opened up. And one thing that I quite like actually between software is that I can literally drag from Photoshop and drop it into Illustrator, which is nice. I'm just going to close Photoshop down. No, that's not Photoshop. Cancel. Don't have too much open. Go away. Thank you. And then I've got my already open, actually, my image trace tool. So I'm just going to zoom in because you can see at the moment it's pixelated. And then on my image trace, I'm going to hit preview. And then you'll see that it vectorizes that for me, which is fantastic. And then I want to trace. Why aren't you letting me trace? Preset, default, high fidelity. Oh, I want it black and white logo. So if I undo that and hit trace, it then should have done that for me. And I'm missing something. I want to get it out. Grayscale, view, black and white logo. Silhouettes. There we go. Silhouettes, that's what I want. So I want it like so, and that's perfect. That's exactly what I need. So I can just get rid of that or just come in. And now I want to go to File, Export, Export As, and then I want it as an SVG. So I will go to my folder, my reference images. Sorry, I'm losing it a little bit. So inside my radio project file and my source images, I'll put it in here as an SVG. Roberts logo. Save that. Okay. And I can just close this down. I'm not going to bother saving it. Doesn't matter. And then what I'm going to do is inside Maya, I'm going to hit this little button there, SVG, which if I just isolate it, is this little icon. And then if I come over to my attribute editor, I can come into this little file import and come to my source images, and I've got my Roberts logo SVG, open up, and it brings it in and it makes it nice and three-dimensional. So now I can bring this in and scale it and get that pretty much in place. So I'm just going to move my pivot point to say here and just play around with it. And it doesn't quite match the one on the thing, but I'm not too fussed. It's close enough for me. Come in here, bring everything back, bring that forward. And to be fair, actually with that skewed, I think it's going to need to move up anyway. So I'm just going to eye it in myself. And I like the amount it's sticking out as it is. I'm just going to set that on. Or what I might do actually, just to give it a little something extra, is I'm going to select the face, and you can see it's like crazy. So I'm not going to try and retopologize it. Hang on, let me just object, Control 1. Select the faces like so. And then I'm going to go to edges, edge perimeter. And then I'm going to try and bevel. And it's going to go crazy on me. Okay, so let me just try and bring this in. And I'm going to delete my history. So then it's no longer like an SVG, it's just a piece of geometry. And then let's try and do that again. And it's still going to go crazy. Okay, never mind. Wishful thinking. So I'll try one more thing. Actually, let's come back to when it is just an actual proper SVG and see if we've got geometry here. And bevel, here we go, enable bevel. That's obviously crazy at the moment. So I'm just going to bring the bevel down and reduce the bevel distance and the offset. And perhaps just have it a straightforward bevel. Can I do it negative? So it's pushing it that way. So I want to try it as a negative 0.003 or 0.3 rather, 2 zeros, negative 0.03. There we go. That's a little better. So just to give it an edge, little catch. Profile, zero bits, but I think I'm fine with that. I'm okay. And then I will then delete the history. Transformations. Bring that in. So I'm happy with that. Now you can try, I'm going to save this before I do anything. There's a couple of new tools, the retopology tools, which you can try, but it may crash. So I'm just going to freeze, save everything. And then it's up here, the little green icons. This will triangulate my mesh. or what's the word, tessellate. So redefines my topology, and then I can increase or decrease my edge length in order to make it quality. Now, what's important to note is that any hard edges, which we've got on the edges now, that will be the edge flow that it tries to maintain as we go through. So I'm going to perhaps reduce this max, so 0.2, enter, which will just increase that because I noticed that it just clipped that edge up there. So we've got that in place and everything looks reasonable. Can't see any major issues. So it looks all right at this point. And then what I want to do is the one next to it, which is my retopologize. So this may take a little while and it may deform the mesh a bit too much. Okay, so that's finished. You can see it's extremely low at the moment. So the poly remesh, which is this tool, is a bit too low. So I need to come in. I think that's the remesh. That's this one. So let's just open up my attribute layer editor. So my retopo one here is where I can edit the count. So target face count is only 1,000 at the moment. So let me just stick another 0 on the end of that and hit enter and let it do its thing. It takes a while to retopologize. I am going to pause the video. Okay, so it took about a minute, I'd say. But it's not come out too bad actually. I think that looks quite well. So it's retopologized it. I'm not sure if there was a hole there in the S before, but it's fine. So I'm sort of happy with that. But that's a retopologized mesh. You've got nice kind of beveled edges. Perhaps you could increase it a little bit more for that S. But I'm okay. So I'm going to save that now. And then maybe, can I be a bit cheeky and smooth it? Taking its time. So make it super high poly. And that is done. I am definitely going over more than one division. So we've got that there and it's looking nice and it's all nice and quad and super high poly. And yeah, I'm happy with that. I don't think I'm going to want to have it low poly, but we'll see. We'll see how we go with this. I might try and just bake it on as opposed to having it actually 3-dimensional. So it will act as like a floater. But we'll see. So I'm just going to D and V and just snap that back to there. Then on this and then hold down V and then just come back, hover it over that. And there we go. There is my sign. We've got everything in place. And I think, and maybe a couple of little bits that I missed, but we'll pick up later. That is my high poly complete. So I'm going to save it and then we'll move on next to the low poly creation.